Welcome, amazing watercolor artists. I have probably over 50 different cards. None of them are the same. And I'm sharing with you all of the wonderful Christmas art that I have created for my friends and family this year. And I will also go through some of the past Christmas cards that I have made, just to give you ideas on how I use my tools to make Christmas cards for my friends and family. And I usually send out about 60 to 80 cards, which is more than I need to, but I want to make sure that everyone is knowing how important they are to me. So by sending a small little card to them means a lot to me and to them, I'm sure. So come along with me, it's going to be a fun ride. Deck the halls with bells of holly, fa la 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 la. Ready for Christmas cards? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this. Okay, so these are all the cards that I have personally painted, made for friends and family this Christmas year. I love painting in Christmas cards. It's one of my favorite things to do when I don't know what to paint. So I paint Christmas motifs. And so these are the cards that I have made. This one is a misty moon with pine trees, and this is actually a tutorial on my YouTube channel that you can go check out. But it was so fun to make. I used a whole bunch of, I think shadow violet for the trees and for the background, and it just really turned out lovely. It's one of my favorites, and so it's hard for me to give away sometimes my cards because they it was just fun to paint. Another one is kind of an abstract, very illustrated, dreamy type winter tree. You can see that it just looks very cold, and I just have ideas that these are cardinals, right? I'm not painting the whole cardinal, I'm just doing a little bit, and I really liked it. I also added some iridescent paint to it, probably Starry Colors by the looks of it, and I just had fun with this card. This one is also on my YouTube channel. The next couple ones are on my YouTube channel. This one, I just wanted to play with green paint and really get some texture into it for it to just be something that you could have on display all Christmas season. So I really like this one. And that tutorial is online. All the links will be in the description. This one is a beautiful, I used two colors. I used cerulean blue and it was either indigo, or it could have been maybe, it looks like indigo. I don't know, it might have been a Sheminki watercolor as well. I'll make sure, but I think it was a Sheminki watercolor from, there's granulating, and it was probably in the glacier, but this is cerulean. And I really just wanted to play with and just get a winter tree with a very simple background. And this is also a tutorial, so you can make that for I was feeling very masculine, this was for a male friend or family member, and I think it's quite lovely actually. Anyways, this one is also a tutorial. I love painting backgrounds, and how fun is this plaid background with splatter of gold. And I just said, wishing you a cozy Christmas, because it reminds me of a cozy blanket that you could just wrap around in. And then I put that in the inside of it. In the sparkle of the seasons and the hush of the falling snow, our hearts reach out in happiness to the special friends we know. So definitely for a fun friend that maybe likes to quilt or something. And same thing, I took a whole sheet and I just made this pattern, and then I made it as a background, and same thing on the inside. This one is also a tutorial. It's with this one, so it was on backgrounds, how to make background watercolors, and then how to just add a sentiment onto your cards. And so this one is very simple. I just wanted it to be kind of like a candy cane Christmassy sort of thing, probably for a co-worker, but also, or for special friends. Anyways, kind of fun. Alright, so now I'm getting into my Tailored Expressions. I live close to Tailored Expressions. I love their company, and I often find ways to use Tailored Expressions in my watercolor cards. So this one is a Stampin' Stencil combo. super fun, and I use those liquid pearls, liquid pearls for the middle of the poinsettia. This one is a stencil, I think it's called like Nordic Star stencil or something like that. It's a stencil. I painted it with iridescent paint, let that dry, and then on top I stenciled with like a blue watercolor, and it really turned out lovely. This one is just a stencil and dye, and all I did was stamp it, and I then cut out the holly jolly part, and then I added a cute little penguin to it. And I probably could add some cute little doodads here and here and here, and I might, I haven't decided. But this was also a make and take for Stamp Joy. But I bought the whole product because I couldn't not have it. Alright, I'm going to get into some mini slim cards. They're a little bit different than, like the size is different. Well, this one's not, but so the other ones are. The sizes are a little bit different. They are not, they're a little bit longer and skinnier. But this one was from, I think it was called Peaceful Pines, and I watercolored it and then I inked on top of it. And I have a tutorial on that as well. But it turned out cute. There's another cute one with a penguin that I had dancing. That one's a bit cuter. But anyways, this one is technically a watercolor card because this is a stencil, and then I splattered watercolor on it. Pretty simple. I used scallop dies to get the shape and mounted it. And this one was part of the stencil too. There was 3 of them, and so this one is the other part to this one. I don't know where the third one went. I probably used it. I die cut the background, and then I used my stencil, or I used the simple strips to add the sentiments. Missing you at Christmas, celebrate the season, with some beautiful colored in animals. Same thing here. And then I used glitter paper, glitter cardstock. It is like way glittery. And then I just added some cute little Santa Clauses, and I think I'll just leave it like this, as it's so cute just the way it is. I did add sentiments to this one, and I like that one. I like the little Rudolph. This one was really fun to make. This was a foil it. I foiled the gold, that's the gold, and then I used the mandala stencil, which might be retired, and then I just cut out a simple sentiment, and this will be fun for like a friend or for a co-worker. Yeah. Same thing here. This probably was, I cut them in half, and then I have one going vertical, one going horizontal, but it really just does what I need it to do, and it works out really well. Here's another one, Have a Holly Jolly Christmas. I love that sentiment. Alright, now this is pastels. This is not watercolor, but I use pastels, and I love the look of this. Pan pastels are so fun to play with. If you want a tutorial on how to use pan pastels on layering stencils, I am your girl. I love using pan pastels on layering stencils. It is so fun. And the creating quad stencil that I used is so easy to make, and I really kind of just made this a monochromatic card, and I really like it. And then there's your sentiment, let your heart be light, Merry Christmas. Snowflakes are so fluffy and white that I had to do that. Yeah, way fun. Alright, kind of mixed media. I used ink for this. It wasn't true watercolor, and so it kind of gives it a messy, fun look. But I like it, and so may your days be merry and bright. And then I have a spot right here to write something, you know. Anyways, kind of fun. This is another tutorial that I really enjoyed making with love at Christmas time, and with a beautiful little cardinal. This is a die cut, and it always sells out like in November, so if you really like this die cut, you should probably buy it sooner than later, if it's still available. It's been out for a couple years, but this was super simple, and I just watercolored two different reds with Brusho pigment, actually, and then I glued the bird together, and then the rest kind of just fell in place. I used a like a scalloped die for the 2 layering. And then I just stamped this as a background with the, I think it's called Twiggy background from Tailored Expressions. A couple more cards from Tailored Expressions. This one was part of a Creating Quad. I believe you can still get the stencil. It's one of my favorites. It's something with mistletoe, or maybe it's gathered like twigs or something, but it really turned out lovely. I used a 9x12 sheet of watercolor paper, did an energy wash, what I call an energy wash. So I took like 2 or 3 colors, very light, and I just watercolored it, and then I stenciled on top of the dried watercolor paper, and then I stamped the sentiment. I added a die cut border right around here, and that was it for the watercolor card. So fun. These 2 are tutorials that I actually showed how to use liquid watercolor. A lot of people love liquid watercolor, but they don't quite know how to handle it and get this beautiful look. And so I made a tutorial on that. Anyways, it's after you get the background done, I just go in and color it. It's a pretty simple process. There is some drying time in it, but it turned out really beautiful. So anyways, go check out that tutorial. I will give you the link in that. This one I really enjoy. I really wanted it to be a color harmony sort of thing, so what I did was I just very strategically chose what colors, and I only used those colors. So a red, undersea green, a brown, probably a brown that I mixed to get that color harmony, and like a light yellow ochre here, yellow ochre for the hair and her face, with different, you know, with more water on the face than on the hair. And I just kind of made it my illustration, even though I used a stamp. I think it turned out way cute, and I'm excited to give this to a friend. I love gingerbread. My love for gingerbread stems from spending some time at the Grand Floridian in Disney World. They do this huge gingerbread display, and I just fell in love with the idea that I could go inside a gingerbread house. So I love gingerbread, and so all I did was I painted a whole brown sheet, or a whole sheet of watercolor paper, and I just painted it all brown. And then once it dried, I stamped that brown sheet of watercolor with this white to get the stamped image, and then I cut out that, and then I cut out the background die to put on for white, and then I stamped this card panel with a very light, I think it was called like pistachio, maybe, I don't know, very like your lightest green that you could get. I wanted like a kitchen-esque look to it, and this background stamp, the Nordic background stamp, really worked for that. And then the Seasoned Sweetings, very simple, very easy to do, and I just really enjoy it. And then sending holiday cheer. The last 2, this one is also part of the quad stencil that I talked about with Peaceful Pines, but instead I just added penguins. And you can kind of see, like, I really like the penguins. This one was done a couple years ago. This one was done last year. And so, again, I like to see my growth. It's so fun. Anyways, that was a fun time. And then my last one is a cardinal, and this one is also a wonderful tutorial on how to use, how to kind of paint your paper for die cuts. So I used Brusho actually for the cardinal, and then I just stamped the 3 layers with different inks, or with different stamps and inks, and then just with love at Christmas time. We are going to move on to some of the other cards. So I really love using stamps. Christmas is fun. I want my Christmas cards to be, I want my Christmas cards to like show that. And so I like to stamp, and I don't think it's cheating. I think it's really awesome that we can use stamps in our watercolor. This one is from Blue Night Stamps. It's one of my favorites. I honestly don't know if it's still available, but You could probably petition the owner to make some stamps because this is one of my favorites. A cute little fox curled up, one of my favorites. Anyways, and then there's my sentiment: from home to home and heart to heart, from one place to another. The warmth and joy of Christmas brings us closer together. So fun. I also live in Iowa, and so covered bridges are a thing, and I think they're so fun. So I had to get this one for like a very Iowa-esque card, but how fun. I just used, you can kind of see, I used just some pearl watercolor, some white iridescent watercolor for the snow, and then I just added a tiny bit of like cerulean blue, and then just a little bit of like brown just to give it a painterly look, and it turned out really lovely. I also painted the sky very wintry-ish. What I did is just put a bead of watercolor right here and let it kind of flow down and let it dry, and that's all I needed. We also have camping friends, and I thought this would be so perfect for a camping friend, and I did use some Jim iridescent watercolors from Karataki, and that's where I got this like blue iridescent. It might also be electric blue from Daniel Smith, but it's just a blue iridescent, and then I just lightly painted in the green. This is also a Blue Night stamp. All four of these are Blue Night stamps. This one's also fun. Same kind of thing as the last three. I was in a very iridescent snowy mood when I painted those. This one comes from Penny Black. I love using Penny Black on watercolor. Like her stamps are amazing, and I enjoy watercoloring poinsettias. So there's this one, and then here's a pine cone one, which is kind of fun. The background was really fun to make, and that's a stamp. These come from Colorado Craft Company, and I have a whole video on Christmas critters with Colorado Craft Company, so I will link that as well. But how fun is this? Such a fun illustration to do. This one took me a little while to paint, but it's so worth it. I love how the how the dog and the mouse are waiting for Christmas or watching it snow. So fun. And this one as well, the bunny and the robin. It's just turned out really fun. This one was done with Corrine markers, and I really enjoyed using Corrine markers. I added the background and I added the foreground, and it was really fun. Another thing I love to do is use pattern paper for my cards, and this one is a shaker card. And Queen and Company has some amazing shaker cards. I love all of them, and it's just fun. It's fun. I like to send these off to like my friend's daughter or to teachers, because it's just fun. Anyways, alright, so sometimes I'm pressed for time, and it's always like at the end of it's always like after I send all my holiday cards that I'm like, oh no, I need some more cards for whoever, right? So I go then to pattern paper, and you can get a lot of fun things done with pattern paper. You know, I think the thought here for me, the school of thought, is that at least they are getting a handmade card that like I know I created, right, for them. And so it might be something as simple as that, right? The 3 layers. I got the red pattern paper and then the sentiment, but this was already printed, so I didn't really have to do much. It was like cut and paste. Same thing here. These are all cut and paste, and these are just from different paper packs. So this was I believe graphics, what is it, graphic 49, but look at how pretty, like a very vintage Santa, season's greetings. I actually sold a lot of those at a craft show a couple years ago, and this is about all I have left, so they went over well. But I love, you know, anytime you can get just a vintage look, or you find paper that is curated together, then you know that the colors are going to match, and it's just a cut and paste sort of thing. thought I'd speed up the process a little bit. These are all just pattern paper, and then I just cut and glue, and there's really no rhyme or reason to it. But I love vintage paper, and that's what these cards are of. And they make for a really fun card that I think someone would definitely display. And they always are a big hit. Okay, so here are my past cards. This was a stamp by Penny Black, and I just did a watercolor. This is a simple tree with the cerulean and the Payne's Gray. This stamp is from Blue Night Stamps. Another Blue Night stamp, but I just did the sky. This one was a really fun one, and there's a tutorial on that as well. This one's one of my favorites. I used Brusho, and I just kind of painted and have fun with it. I love using sentiments in my cards. That one's kind of the same type of one that I shared. This one was done with stencils, but I didn't just stencil it. I really made it artistically. Anyways, if you found this video to be at all helpful, I would sure love a like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also starting Christmas card classes online through Zoom, so if you are new to watercoloring cards and you want to learn how to paint greeting cards in watercolor, I'm your girl, man. I have figured it out, and I just love painting cards to give to my family and friends. Anyways, happy painting. I love you guys all, and thanks so much for being part of this watercolor community.